Yo, what is up, boys? How's it going? And welcome back to another episode of the Rant Cafe Anime Podcast. We're so back, boys, talking about 3 different anime today that we forced each other to watch. Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Look Back, and My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered. I'm sure we could guess who recommended which one, but Recon, welcome in, buddy.
Well, great to be back, buddy. Great to be back. I hope you guys really enjoyed my recommendation, actually.
We'll talk about it in a second.
Can't wait to hear your thoughts.
And Recon did recommend My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered. And Jordan, welcome in, buddy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How are you doing today?
And he recommended Look Back, which is an anime movie that we're going to talk about here in a second. And then I wanted to torture Recon, and so I recommended Legend of the Galactic Heroes, because I know how much he loves older anime.
He adores it.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
God damn, man.
Do we want to start with My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered?
Up to
I'm
you
down to
guys.
start with whatever y'all want to do.
Okay.
Whatever.
Honestly, Recon, with this anime, I was very surprised. I thought nothing could be worse than smartphone isekai, and it found a way. It found a way. I think I have this classified as the worst anime I've ever dropped. I gave it a 1.5. I gave it a 1.5 out of 10.
No way.
Yeah, it gets.
Wait,
That's
how is it?
crazy.
How is it the worst, but only a 1.5?
There is no way this is like the worst thing you've
Go down
ever
to a
seen.
1. Go down to a 0.5. Their score's lower than
Okay,
a 1.5.
want to know why? I want to know the logic behind the 1.5.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I gave it a 0.5 for the opening. I gave it a 0.5 because it didn't look bad. So that's 1 right there. And I gave it an extra 0.5 because it made me laugh twice.
Twice. What
Twice.
were those moments that made you laugh?
When?
She like pulled a wand out of her tits. And I just like, I don't even know if I was laughing because it was funny. I think I was laughing at the show.
Just tie you off guard. Just
Yeah. And then she had another wand in her. I don't even remember. I watched these too close to when we finished the last podcast, but it just, I don't know. I feel like when you have an overpowered protagonist, it's like you want them to either be badass or like comedic because they're so overpowered. And I feel like this show found a way to do neither. It tried to do both and ended up doing neither. It had like, there was no stakes. It felt like it had no identity. And truly, madly, deeply, I think I would rather watch paint dry.
Wow. Okay.
Jordan.
That's one way to start the podcast.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Jordan.
But Briggs, I have a question.
Okay, what's your
Briggs, I have a
question,
question for you. How do you feel that this protagonist can actually destroy Saitama and Goku? How do you feel about that?
I don't care because he's a bad character in a bad show.
Strong
But he can
character in all of media.
literally kill them like
Yeah,
so easily.
I guess he could. If they wanted to kill him, that resentment or that hatred, I think they would. Neither Saitama nor Goku would want to fight him nor hate him in any way. But
They can't. They literally can't even think about hurting him. That's how. This is probably the most overpowered character in all of anime, most likely.
Well, actually,
media.
Recon, Goku's punches with Beerus were multiversal level. They made the universes shake. Therefore, hack abilities like this in an isekai world would not apply due to he is at such a higher level that the ants could not do anything. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Sparty Pants. Okay.
Okay. Jordan, what did you think of this fucking anime?
All right. So I think I'm actually going to throw you a bit of a curveball here, Briggs. I don't know if you expected this, but we got to start letting Recon cook. I think he was actually kind of onto something with this one.
There's no way.
So as a bit of a heads up, I've seen a lot of bad isekai, right? Back in when the isekai boom, I would watch, at least try out, like every isekai that kind of came out there for a bit. So I finished like Reincarnated in the Second World or Another World for the second time. I've watched a few episodes of the smartphone isekai. I've seen some bad isekai, and there's a lot I couldn't even finish. This one, I thought it was kind of going down that route for the first 3 or 4 episodes. And I know we only had to watch 3, so like, I watched it. There was some moments in there that some moments really made me want to drop it. Like, I guess there's a bit of a spoiler for people. He killed the cute cat girl. All right, he killed a lot of cute girls, and that made me really sad. But moving past that and continuing to watch it, I actually finished this anime.
No, you
and I had a
didn't.
fun time with it. I finished it and I had a fun time with it.
There is no
So-
way you actually finished it. That's crazy.
I did finish. I finished season 1. I know there's probably going to be a season 2 at some point. I'm here for it. It was just a fun ride, right? Like once you start going, there's a lot of twists and turns, and it kept me guessing. There was a lot of stuff. Like it seems like it would be so predictable, and parts of it are, but do those parts really matter? No. Like there's other parts that it kept you guessing on, right? It was just a fun time.
Dude, I think the scene where like her boob brushed against the guy in the first episode, and I'm like, haha, they had to show us that angle, and then he was like, she's like, why did you help me? Well, your boob brushed against me. It's like, not only what, it's just like, I feel like the jokes just fell flat. They were so stupid.
So, yes, but it was so wholesome too. Besides that, right? There's that one moment, and there's a couple other ecchi moments. But I was actually surprised how little ecchi there actually was.
Yeah,
and
no,
it wasn't
it
even
really
a harem.
wasn't.
It was very wholesome. They're holding hands in the opening. They're on the front of every light novel cover together. I don't know. I was genuinely a little bit surprised by how much I enjoyed this show.
That's
I
crazy.
had more fun with it than I expected.
I knew you would like it, Jordan.
No, you didn't.
So I will say I tried to read the light novel initially. I read the first half of the first light novel, which led up to about like 12-minute mark of the first episode, and minus the backstory part, they kind of tossed that in there, and I dropped it. I couldn't really do it. I powered through those first few episodes, and then after that, I don't know if it was because I was doing a watch party or whatever, but like people came in, they're like, "There's a lot of characters in this show," and I was like, "Correction, there was a lot of characters in this show. I don't have to remember names because everybody dies, and then you're just having fun. You're just continuing along, right?" So,
I don't know, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope it got better after episode 3. And to be honest, something about an instant death ability that was neither badass nor funny really got to me. It's like you couldn't even have a good reaction to him killing your buddy. It's like I feel like everything was just like flatter than I would expect from this type of show.
Well, you got to remember,
Even the
he's had
ecchi,
this
there was, like,
power
no
his
ecchi.
whole life, right?
Yeah.
He's had his
Yeah,
power
even
his
when
whole
he's
life.
young.
They go back. He lived in they explore his backstory and kind of why he is the way he is. That power's not anything
kid
normal.
was
Like,
kept in a
extraordinary to him,
facility.
right?
He was kept in a
Yeah.
facility for all
So-
his young
Yes.
days.
So because of that, he's not quite like ordinary people. He's a little bit twisted in that way, but he's had a few impactful people in his life that kind of taught him what humanity is, and you see how that kind of shapes who he is. So I don't know. It was
So you
well
think-
put
you
together
think-
for what it was.
You think the protagonist with his backstory is well written?
No, I wouldn't say well written, but there was at least some thought put into it, right? Like writing's not easy.
Dude, our standards
it's
are
not
so
a masterpiece.
low.
It's not great.
Our
but it's-
standards are so low. There was
Yeah.
at least some thought put into it. Low key, when I
Yeah,
watched
it
this
was
show,
there.
I'm like, was this a fucking school project? I think I think I was like reviewing one of my grade 7's fucking like story, like short stories.
Briggs, you're meant to enjoy watching a protagonist getting underestimated, which is what was
Exactly.
happening for like 90, almost probably more than 90%. Everybody was underestimating the shit out of this character, and they're all just dying for it.
Yo, buddy, this script was written on ChatGPT.
So Briggs. The things with the stuff like isekai, and the problem I have with a lot of them is a lot of the better stories out there are inspired by something in real life or something from the creator. They're inspired by other pieces of art outside of that medium. Isekais have kind of gone down that road where they inspire one another, and it's kind of like an Ouroboros in that way, right? Where it's like this isekai inspired this other isekai that then inspired this other isekai, and there's so many that are bland and whatnot. This one at least tried to kind of break that mold. It poked some fun at some of the others. It like introduced characters that are like the main protagonist in like in some of the bigger isekai, and it's like you thought they were broken. Here's why they're not, right? Like
Yeah.
comparatively.
I can't wait for the sequel. My ability makes people die before they even meet me. Any enemy that might become my enemy dies before we even have an encounter. I will agree
Bro,
with you,
I don't care what everyone says. This isekai, when I first from watching it when it was airing and finished it completely, it was very fun. Yeah, it's trash. It's very generic, but it was so fun.
All right. Well, I give it a 1.5 out of 10 because I felt bad to give it less.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 1.5 out of 10. Jordan, what are you giving it out of 10?
I'm giving it a 3 out of 10.
3 out of
Solid
10.
3.
Solid
Yep.
3. What are you giving it out of
Which,
10,
like I said,
Recon?
based on the first few episodes, I was expecting like a 1 or maybe 2. Like it beat my expectations. So
my chat got me good. Chat made me laugh so hard. My ability killed the whole Isekai world when I arrived.
Bro, we're gonna go crazy with how Isekai is going at the moment.
I got
I don't know.
they keep trying to one up each other, right?
Dude,
I don't know what kind of Isekai we're gonna be getting, but my God, there's just endless creativity with this.
Dude, I got
this genre.
I got Isekai to another world and the Demon King died. Yeah, immediately. Okay, Recon, what do you give this show out of 10?
For me, when I watched it, I was a 6 out of 10. I was gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
I liked it. Yeah, 6 out of 10. I liked it.
Oh.
It wasn't mid. I wouldn't give it a 5. Like it wasn't mid. It was solid.
For a
I'd say solid.
10
A solid option. Good 6 out of 10.
10.5 out of 30 is the score we've given this anime. Now, I just want to say,
I had fun with it. Never would have watched that one otherwise. But
yeah,
was
I'm
good.
glad Jordan had fun, and I actually will agree with Recon. I think the only thing the show did decent sometimes, from what I saw, was like the underestimating of their opponent. Sometimes it felt like that was actually executed. It's like they actually managed to write them underestimating the opponent. Versus, I feel like a lot of things where it's like I feel like they're trying. It just felt like everything felt flat, wasn't exaggerated in any way. For an anime that feels like it should be exaggerated. Like the reaction to killing your buddy should be so over the top, or to this guy's abilities should be so over the top. And it just like, I don't know, I feel like everyone was stoned. Well, maybe I was stoned watching this anime. I don't know.
Well, one of the biggest climaxes of the entire anime, the fight was very anticlimactic.
Of course,
but it's one of the biggest climaxes. It's literally the villain telling him that he's going to die and all this stuff, and then he just literally goes, "No, you."
No
No,
way.
you is
No way.
Yeah, he just goes, "No, you," and then that's the fight. That's like the climax. It's like, man, that was like the most anticlimactic climax I think I've ever seen in an anime.
But
Like,
you know what? Anticlimactic in itself could be really funny, and maybe that final scene
Yeah,
is really funny.
yeah.
Although a lot of
Man.
the other
was
anticlimactic
okay.
moments was not funny for me, at least.
It was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it was fun. It was
What a protagonist, man. What a fucking protagonist Yogiri is.
Oh,
3 out of
okay.
10. But you would recommend? I would not recommend anybody this anime, but he recommended it. I watched it and I had a little bit of fun with it. So
Okay. Oh my god, that was exhausting. That was exhausting. Honestly, almost as exhausting as watching the show. But look back. Jordan recommended the movie Look Back, guys. So we didn't watch episodes, we watched a movie, and I think it's a gorgeous movie. I think it's a beautiful movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I have a couple critiques, but I will let Recon start off here.
All right. Trash.
There's no way you thought Look Back was trash. There's no way you thought Look
hurt my
Back.
heart here, breaking my heart.
Okay, listen.
You
I
gotta stop
thought it
letting
was.
Recon cook.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was nice, but I still think other movies just do so much better, like A Silent Voice or I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Okay, but this is a
Those
different
two,
movie.
in my opinion, are way better.
Okay, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not that much of a fan of manga in general, because I don't read manga. I don't like books. I hate books, and it's like okay, we get the story. It's about two characters joining in together, and they want to make manga together. Okay, it was wholesome. One of them gets jealous. One of them gets jealous of the other because they think they're better, and then they team up and a tragic accident happens, and yeah. Did I cry? No, not as much as A Silent Voice or I Wanna Eat Your Pancreas. It didn't hit me like I was hoping it for.
dude, I was depressed for the rest of the
It
night.
didn't hit me. Like, okay, the character went through the depression arc, okay, but it just didn't hit me as much as The Silent Voice or I Wanna Eat Your Pancreas. So for that reason, the movie was alright.
What would
Not
you
the
give,
greatest.
Silent Voice
was
is one of my
alright.
favorite movies of all time. That one's also great.
What would you give it out of 10, Recon?
Out of 10, I'll give it a 7.
1 point higher than my instant death ability is OP.
Buddy just ripped on it and then gave it a 7 out of 10. Oh my god.
Oh, it's 7.
Okay, that's
It is
okay.
slightly better than my instant death ability is overpowered.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
take it. I'll take it.
The thing is, because my instant death ability is fun, But this movie, it was like
It was
mid
sad?
fun.
You think it was
and,
boring?
Yeah, it just didn't make me cry. It was like mid fun. It
Okay.
wasn't really that fun, but it was mid fun. It has an okay story, good characters, but yeah, it just didn't make me move or
Alright.
feel anything.
You know what, Recon?
We
You're
gotta stop letting him cook.
What?
We gotta stop letting
We
Recon
gotta
cook.
stop letting this guy cook.
We gotta shut this down, 'cause it's-
I want to
Oh my
hear
God.
what you thought, Briggs. You wanted this. You asked for it. You wanted this.
Yeah, guys. To preface, I did tell Recon, I'm like, don't hold back for me. Don't hold back. You're gonna get hate comments. I'm sure you're gonna get hate comments, but please don't hold back for the sake of the podcast. Because he would message me last week. This fucking anime is ass. This anime, this, I hate this, that, oh my god, this is torture, whatever. And then he gets to the episode, he's like, I just don't like old anime. It's like, rip on it, dude. If you want to rip on it, rip on it. For the sake of the podcast, I think it makes it entertaining. I will say, though, Recon, what's really funny to me is that you hate manga so much that you even hate the creative process of art. It went to the origins. It's like, I don't want to read manga. I hate reading manga. Then now a show about creating manga, I don't like it. Oh,
That's pretty much it. You really nailed it with the breakdown. Honestly,
okay.
perfect.
Oh my god, I actually feel tired.
That hurts my heart.
This episode's like
That wears me
exhausting me. What else? I think what I really liked about Look Back was kind of like, it was just watching these two characters that were both very, very talented kind of be insecure in their art, motivated by each other, kind of looking to each other for the help and relying on each other and thinking less of themselves. And it's like the struggle with the creative process and trying to like please each other. It was such an interesting dynamic between these two characters. And I wish I could like rationalize my thoughts here. But it was like one girl quit art at one point because the other girl that was like a shut-in was better than her. But then the shut-in was working so hard because she saw the other one's art. And that's what got her into art in the first place. It was like, so one person's inspired by her senpai and gets into the art. And then senpai sees her art, not knowing that she inspired her, and quits art because she's like, I could never be as good as her. And then eventually they become friends and team up, and you have this emotional run. Jordan, that run is fucking cinema. That run is
Right?
actually cinema. The amount of emotions that were like told on her running home after meeting up with this girl and like getting back into art, from frustration to sadness to happiness to like motivation and like looking forward to things. You felt everything that she felt along this 30-second run home in the rain. It was a gorgeous way of showing without telling.
It makes me so happy.
I want to talk about this more. Spoilers, guys. Spoilers on Look Back. Spoilers on Look Back. You have been warned. I think Recon may have already said it. I was depressed in the
I only
end.
said a tragic accident happened.
Yeah, a tragic accident happens in the end, and I was definitely depressed. And I think I'm okay with the tragic accident happening and the realism of the ending, and maybe some regret from one of their parts and one of their halves. However, the alternate reality ending with like the manga thing going underneath the door and like what could have been, but then ending up in like a similar. I didn't really like it.
All right. I could touch on that here after a bit, but just give your thoughts here.
I wish I could. I'm trying to remember exactly exactly my thoughts on this alternate ending that was shown, and it wasn't even like what could have been if they were less insecure in their own abilities, or what could have been if like things had a happy ending. It was like, I think it ended up the same way, except for she went to karate school and saved her in the end. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Is I could probably gush about this movie forever, but whenever you're reading the manga, the very first word you see on that chalkboard at the very start, the very first word on the page is the word "don't."
Mm-hmm.
And then the last words you see in the manga are "look back." So that's the thematic meaning I took away from it was "don't look back." And as she's processing that grief, she's thinking back about, what ifs. What if I never never pulled her out of that room, out of the safety of that? What could have been, right? And even in those what if scenarios, like there towards the very end, like everything was so different. But art is such a big part of her life there towards the end. She still can't imagine her life without art, right? She's like, oh yeah, I started drawing again. Let's do this together. She's trying to think of some way that could have been like a happy ending as she processes that grief. And I get having mixed emotions on that. But one of my favorite things about that was, like you said at the start, the impact that they had on one another in life. They kind of put each other on a pedestal and looked up to each other. And I don't think they realized how big of an impact they had on each other until the end. So whenever she's imagining that what if scenario, she thinks back, and in her mind, Kyomoto's life would have been mostly the same, right? She still would have been great at art. She still would have gone to art school. She still would have succeeded just fine without me. But it's only like after processing that grief and like kind of walking into the room herself, she sees how big of an impact she had on Kyomoto, right?
With the sweater on the back of the door.
The jersey signed on the door, still sitting there. All the manga she's written's all over the place and whatnot. Like, even though they weren't in contact for a few years and stuff there, like, the impact that they had on each other's lives was very real, right? I think that's the overall message of the story is you got to kind of take the weight of the life you've lived, the people you've had interactions with and impacted in their lives, and you got to take the weight of all that. You just got to continue walking forward no matter what, right? You keep that with you. She puts it up on the window there at the very end, the manga panel. She keeps it with her. It's a part of her now. That's never going to go away. But you got to keep moving forward, right? Don't stay in the past. Don't keep looking back. You got to always move forward. So thematically, I love it as a manga and a movie.
You nearly brought a tear to my eye, Jordan, with that speech.
I do agree with Jordan, and I do agree, like, don't look back in the way of regret. Like, what could have been if I did this? What could have been if I did this? If I was nicer? If we didn't get into the fight? If I never pulled her out of the room? Absolutely. But one of the parts I really liked about the ending was seeing all the happy times they had together. They kind of did a time lapse of all the fun they had that we didn't really get to see a lot of it. And they showed us all these years of working together, having fun, and like the bond that they had together. And I like that because that's what you should be looking back on and celebrating her life. Like celebrating her life, not the regret part. So I like that. It's just, I swear those 15 minutes of like them going back and like redoing it, I just didn't like the execution of it. Because I agree, she ended up going to art school regardless. And then the other girl didn't. And then she ended up going to karate and saving her. It was just a weird way of executing that. I think they could have showed it in a better way. If like... I can't think on the.
I liked it better the second time around than the first, just because I saw more of what they were trying to do. But I do see, I at least see the first time I watched it. I think that was the part that like was probably my least favorite part as well. So I at least see the complaint there. So
like, what do you think they were trying to achieve by showing that alternative reality? Like, what's your main takeaway?
Yeah, my main takeaway is like I said, they didn't really realize the impact that they had on one another's lives. So in Fujino's mind, she's like, Kyomoto would have. She would have been just fine without me, right? Like she would have still done all that and stuff. And there's probably no truth to that. She's processing the grief, and then whenever there's a lot of different ways you could probably interpret it. That's kind of what I got from it. So and then it wasn't until she actually kind of faced the reality of the situation and how much of an impact they had on each other that she was able to kind of move forward with it. So.
Now imagine they did an alternate ending where she never pulled her out of the room. Only part of that comic strip she saw or never saw any of the comic strip, and she never left the room. And she continued to do art for fun in that room. But in the end, let's say she dies around a similar age or something. It's like she goes out to grab a newspaper and gets hit by a truck or something. It's like she wouldn't have had any of those happy memories they shared, nor went to like further her art more than just staying in her room and like doing comics or whatever. Like she achieved so 100%. Much more and had so much more fun. And I feel like that could have been shown without her like going to art school, and then the pickaxe guy still going there, and then her saving her with karate.
Yeah, fair.
Like it was just a little bit over the top, and like it achieved a similar result, just not the result exactly.
Granted, Fujimoto is always a little bit over the top. His art's kind of wacky.
That's fair.
It's very stylistic of that. So there's a lot of.
Didn't he make Chainsaw Man as well? Fujimoto?
Yeah, it's out there, Chainsaw Man. That's what he's most known for. He's done a lot of one shots. So I have a bunch of his one shots here in the back. Look Back's not even my personal favorite. I love Goodbye Eri, but yeah, it's one that he put a lot of work into that was really good as a manga. And my favorite part is that as an anime, it was done by a small studio. This is the longest thing they've ever done, and the reason it's a small studio is it's because it's like co-founded by this one guy that does a lot of work in the industry. He did most of the things on this movie, so it was very, very heavily influenced by him. He did the character designs, a lot of the keyframes, the freaking art direction, etc. And he really wanted to bring some of those big moments, I guess, in their lives, like to life and show it animated, right? Show it in ways you wouldn't be able to do in manga. So like a big spread that's just 2 pages of her running in the rain was turned into like a cinematic masterpiece. Or her at the very beginning when she first saw the other art and compared it, right? She's running in frustration. Like those moments that are impactful in her life, I feel like he just really brought those to life, and you could tell it was a bit of a passion project there. So short movie, but I don't know, one of my favorites. So.
I'm gonna give it an 8.3 out of 10.
Okay.
Wow.
So I feel like it's not quite like a 9. It's not quite an 8. So I give it an 8.3 instead of an 8.5 because I'm weird. I don't know. I have a lot of anime at 8.5 on my list, and I feel like I'm like, I have a couple issues with this show, but other than that, like it was beautiful, and they did so many things well. Okay, so Recon gave it a 7. I gave it an 8.3. What did you give it, Jordan?
I think I have it at a 9.5 on my
Holy
list.
fuck.
So
That's high.
I really enjoyed it. So I'm a big Fujimoto fan.
Wait. So what did you give A Silent Voice, and if you watched I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, what did you give those two?
I haven't seen I Want to Eat Your Pancreas yet, but I think I have A Silent Voice at like a solid 9. I think I love A Silent Voice, but I did a lot of character analysis videos initially when I made my YouTube channel. So I analyzed the crap out of both the manga and the anime for that over and over and over. I think I burned myself out a little bit kind of when I did that. So I still appreciate and love the movie, but I think I did end up like having like a 9 just because of that, right? It's one I can't go back and rewatch all the time.
Okay.
Now.
Fair. So for personal reasons. Also, Recon, I also hate your reasoning where it's like you don't like this anime movie because other anime movies are better. Like obviously, I have so many other anime movies I like more than this. I like Your Name more than this. I like Princess Mononoke more than this. Like for the nostalgia, and it's honestly a beautiful movie. This is close to it. It's up there, but I wouldn't hate this less.
Okay.
Or hate this more because those are good. Anyway.
So yeah, I think we all had valid reasons for why we hate them.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Anyway, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, my pick here.
God
Recon,
damn.
take it away, Recon.
God damn. This shit sucks balls, bro.
Why?
It's so shit. I hate old anime from the 90s. They look bad.
Actually, it's from the 80s.
Sound
The
bad.
80s,
The
actually?
animation is bad. Everything is bad about this. And honestly, I struggled once again. And you know what I did? I skimmed through
Stop!
it.
You have to watch it. What is the blonde character's name? Band.
George?
No.
George?
Reinhardt.
Right.
Okay.
Honestly, the point where I think Reinhardt, when he kicked the dude in the balls and bashed someone in the back of the head with a rock.
What are you talking about?
So that was actually episode 4. That means he watched episode 4.
Wait, what? I didn't watch episode 4. He watched 4. He secretly likes it.
He saw more than you, Briggs.
No, listen. I decided to give you like one or two more episodes, but I really hated it. That's how I felt. Like I
Okay.
want to kick this anime in the
Recon,
ball.
let me cut you off here. I accidentally talked over you earlier. What were you saying? You said it looks bad, they look bad, they sound bad?
Everything looks bad. The anime looks bad. The animation is trash. They sound bad. I hate it.
Did you at least like the soundtrack? Did you at least like the soundtrack?
It was okay, the soundtrack, honestly.
Okay, I
Just
thought
a
it
bunch
was
of classical music. This is so sad.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant that the OP sounds like a national anthem. I thought that was really cool. The background music during some of these epic wars is really cool. I really enjoyed that. I will say, Recon, I kind of agree with you a little bit, where it's like, as much as I love anime, and I know this is probably going to be a banger, the amount of dialogue and like it just looking so dated, I even struggled with it. I even struggled.
So
with
why
it.
did you even recommend it in the first place?
Well, I've never watched it before.
So,
I recommended something that I thought I just wanted to watch something that was old, that was critically acclaimed.
nothing about this was literally critically acclaiming. It was shit.
Okay, let's we watched 3 episodes. Let's not get there. I think the concept of these gigantic wars taking place and yet how do I explain this? I only watched 3 episodes. But what did the narrator say in the beginning? It's like the effects of this war go on to affect future generations, but also like have like very little effect on the world at large. I can't remember the actual message.
There's many planets because it's a space opera, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been going on for hundreds of years, and then these players that we're watching are just kind of one small part of that blip of history, right? Where we're watching their perspective kind of on that conflict, right? So. But
Jordan,
yeah,
your thoughts. Let's hear your thoughts, Jordan.
Yeah, no, I feel like this one's kind of right up my alley. I actually really enjoyed the first few episodes. Like I feel like I'd be very biased towards this one, but it is a bit tough for a format like this because with series like this, you're going to have a lot of information dumping at the start. You're going to have a lot of setup. And the first 2 episodes are this big battle that's kind of laying the overlay of what both sides are, kind of what's going on, who the different players are, and it's just basically a broad overview. Episode 3, you kind of zoom in more towards the Free Planets Alliance, and you see Yang and kind of what's going on with him and those around him. Some of the issues that they might have, how even if it's said to be a Free Planets Alliance and stuff, they might not necessarily have freedom of speech or things like that. That some of the things we take for granted, right? Like that she has the secret police coming after her because she spoke out against this conflict that they're kind of benefiting from.
Dude, that scene was so funny. The 20 random dudes with rods trying to attack one woman.
Just came out in masks and all that. Yeah, it's kind of terrifying in that way. So we zoom into that side, and then I watched another one because I felt like they would do this, and I was right. So what they did in episode 4 was they zoom into the Empire, and you kind of see Reinhard and Siegfried's backstory, what his motivations are, and so I feel like the first 4 episodes even are a lot of setup. You're kind of getting introduced to the characters and things like that. And like I said, this was a 110 episode anime that was made over like 9 years from 88 to 97. So I'm sure there's a lot more there.
Jordan, can you really watch the whole thing? Can you watch?
Oh yeah, I want to keep watching this one. I'm not dropping it. It's right up my alley. I enjoyed the first 4 episodes quite a bit. I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of biased towards series like that. I like soap opera type stuff. I like politically military driven stuff in fiction. It was fascinating. I liked it. You can see since I've watched series like that are a little bit newer, it's fun seeing where that inspiration came from as and like how this inspired the series that came after, right? So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. But it is a bit tough rating just the first 4 episodes. I'll probably give a bit of a lower score just for that. But.
What we're trying to do here with these 3 episodes is kind of just get a first impression, see what we like, and see if it would make us want to keep on watching. Like we don't need to give it the rating out of 10 is not. We're not judging the entire show, guys. We're just judging the first 3 episodes, and for the most part, like what if we liked it, disliked it, and if we plan on continuing to watch it. For example, this show had things I liked about it. That first war, watching that guy kind of take command and like help save the war. They were getting destroyed, even though they had more numbers, because these other guys were like fighting for pride and like not willing to like use certain strategies, while Reinhard was like catching them off guard, attacking their weak points, attacking them before they were able to get their ships out of their main ship or whatever. Like he had all these strategies, and even though it's such a large war with millions of ships over hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, so there's so much strategy involved. Even the timing to reinforce another unit has to be considered. And it's like, if we're not going to get there on time to save them, then unfortunately that's like a sacrifice you probably have to make. And the old commander couldn't make it, and the new commander was able to make that sacrifice, and that's why they were able to like not lose more and more men. But millions of people died, and you saw the effects of this on their families. And like you said, Jessica, who stood up and then had like the police trying to take her out. There was a lot of good things with this show, but I will say there was also so much setup and so much dialogue that I did find myself bored at times. But again, it's only the first 3 episodes. The fact that I like characters and I like the setup should make me want to keep on watching it.
Yeah. I feel like
Briggs.
The strategies we saw in the first couple episodes were very basic. It's like I said, the tactics employed by Reinhard are Very fundamental. It was literally just if they separate, we pick them off one at a time. So I think it more so than anything like strategically that impressed me. It was more so just almost like the commentary of hierarchies, and if there's incompetence at the top, the kind of losses that can be incurred from that.
Yeah.
So because they had trouble adjusting in real time and like and reacting to that type of basic tactic, right? They lost so many people because of that, and we saw that effect in episode 3. But yeah, it basically it was the equivalent of us playing Apex and them getting angles and us going, let's go get the one guy over here by himself as a 2 or 3 man unit, right?
It was also a really
one at a time.
Take one out at a time, catch people off guard, attack them before they're ready. Little things like flanking. Like there was this very simple strategy, like you said. It was really funny how there was a circle of ships because they were all just trying to flank each other. So they created.
It just turned into an Ouroboros, and then they're just like.
They're like just an Ouroboros.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have more losses on both sides. No one's winning this. Especially at that point, it was probably closer to 2 million ships each. So at that point, it's like we're just gonna kill each other. There's no more strategy involved at this point.
At that point, there was like a bit of winning and losing on both sides. As far as like the Free Planets Alliance at the start, they had no reason to lose, but because they'd let themselves dig a hole up to that point, getting out with just with that result was considered kind of a win for the second half, and then. For Reinhardt, he like I said, he was the underdog at the start of the first place, right? They were outnumbered, however many to. I think they had twice as many, right? People. I could be wrong on that. And
I think they had
getting out. It was considered a win overall.
They had twice as many at first, and then by the end, it was pretty equal. So there's like let's just get out and consider this a win on both sides, based on like the commander falling and this guy taking over, etc. What are we gonna rank this out of 10, guys?
Okay, look, we get it. The whole show is a space war, trash characters, bad looks. I will literally never talk about or watch this anime or touch it ever again in my life. I would rather watch the live action of Death Note again. I would literally want to see Light Turner. That's how much
Light Turner.
That's how much I would love to see Light Turner again.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Fuck. Recon. I will say though, the character designs, while looking very old, I did like how like unique everyone looked. And I feel like sometimes in modern anime, like my instant death ability, they all have the same fucking faces. Like sometimes they're hot. Don't get me wrong. But like they all like sometimes they so many characters look too similar for me, and they just change the hair color, and it's lazy. And I do find like some of these guys with their receding hairlines, the older commanders, I enjoyed the character designs for them.
Yeah, I would rate this a 1 out of 10. Okay. Bye-bye.
1 out of 10 for Recon. Jordan?
Like I said, I'm kind of biased towards this thing, but since I'm only rating the first few episodes, I'm gonna go ahead and give it like a, let's say 6.5 out of 10. Right? I could see it going up with time. I see why it's one of the classics just based off of that, and I imagine I would be a big fan if I finished it. So I'm biased towards this type of show.
I do think this is going to be one of those shows that gets better with every episode as the world building and character development happens. I'll give it a 6.5 for now, and it's enough for me to want to keep on watching.
Yeah.
But I will say I was definitely bored at times because it's a lot of like info dumps and dialogue. And
yeah, I could definitely see why people say like, or people would say it's not the best thing they've ever seen if we watch it nowadays, right? But I could see why it was like seen as being ahead of its time in a lot of the things it did. So.
Yeah. Okay, so what is that? 12, 13, 14 out of 10. I mean, 14 out of 30. So highest ranked for us would be Look Back at 24.8 out of 30. Lowest ranked is Recon with 10.5 out of 30, and mine in the middle once again with 14 out of 30. Do we know what we want to recommend for next week?
I believe I
have been. So hear me out, boys.
Okay.
First week I was the lowest. I was lower than Recon.
No 90s. Please no 90s anime.
This week I proved that I could recommend something good if I want to. So I'm gonna let you guys go first, but just a heads up. I think I'm gonna try to be chaotic and go back and forth. I just want to avoid that middle area. So
all right.
Let's see if I can get the lowest rank again next week.
Recon, what are you thinking?
You go first, Briggs. I want you to go first.
I had a couple. I keep on like changing my pick. I had some ideas, and now I think I'm determined to get Recon to like an old anime.
Please stop with the 90s. I'm begging you, man.
I think
Please.
this might be 2000s. Probably not. Hajime
not
no
too
Ippo. Hajime no
Oh
Ippo.
my god.
It has a good
anime's
first
90s.
3 episodes. It's definitely 90s, right?
80s. Yeah.
It has a good first 3 episodes. I'm determined to get Recon to like an old anime. For the bias towards the looks to be beaten by the quality of the characters and the storytelling.
I know at the very least that Hajime no Ippo is like a boxing anime, but
Yeah.
that's all I pretty much know.
Hajime
It's one of the
Ippo.
goats. It's one of my only. It's one of the only manga like in my top 5 for manga, and then also top 10 for anime series. It's just
Like the
You might like it.
There was a boxing anime that I really enjoyed. It was Megalobox. If you guys watched it, that was really dope.
Yeah,
I have
Megalobox
not.
is alright, but Ippo's better. I will say,
So-
Recon, you're lucky I didn't recommend Astro Boy. It was one of the first,
Oh my
one
god,
of the first anime
dude,
ever made.
bro!
Going back old school. Kid for the White Lion.
You can't torture me like that, bro.
I will.
Oh god, Hajime
No-
no Ippo made in 2000s, bro.
No skimming. No skimming. Don't talk about the 2000s like it was a million years ago. Shut up.
Ippo was
That was
made by
25 years ago.
Well, it was made by early 2000s Madhouse though, so like it looks and sounds really good for the era it was made. So
I agree.
Actually, I think this anime is on Netflix. I'm gonna check it out on Netflix.
Nice.
huge.
Recon, what's your
So-
recommendation, dude?
So, since I gave you a generic trash isekai, let's see if I can find something a bit more better. Have you? How about we go a little bit overboard? Shimonetta. How about that?
Shimonetta.
Shimonetta.
I
People
know the
that-
concept of this one. I've never seen it.
Have you? Okay, well, that's what I want you guys to watch. You're gonna love it.
People have been wanting me to watch this for a long time. I may have watched one episode.
All
If
right.
I'm thinking of the right thing. All right.
It's gold. Gold.
Is it the one where the girl where they were like fucking panties on their head and it's like sexual stuff is banned or something?
You're on the right track. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're on
Got
the
it,
right
got
track.
it, Okay. Jordan.
So Shimonetta, what was the first one again? Ippo, and then
Hajime no Ippo.
so that means I need to recommend something that you guys probably won't like, but it's something I still
Oh
like,
my
right? So
God.
I need to go down a little bit. I'll also go older than I've gone thus far.
No, please don't
Something you guys have
recommend
probably
90s,
never heard of
please.
before. No, it's early 2000s, so
Oh,
2003, 2004, around that time. It's called Rumbling Hearts.
What is this
Rumbling
fucking
Hearts. Okay.
Yeah, it was a visual novel adaptation that's basically like a soap opera. Like it's just think of it as like watching The Young and the Restless. You guys will have a good time. It's
Rumbling
fun.
Hearts.
Rumbling Hearts. I'll send a link to it here after the podcast. But
Is it? No.
it's one a lot of people like. It's never been like highly acclaimed or anything like that. It's just one that personally like left an impact on me. All right, so it's
This
very
one-
melodramatic, very soap opera-y, but I like it. I like drama. And
Yeah, it
fiction.
definitely does look like a visual novel. That's for sure. It's with the two girls at the front. Interesting.
Guys, I feel like,
By Studio Fantasia. I've never. Heard
I
of them.
feel like I could call this episode that we did today the good, the bad, and the ugly anime. So we got the good look back, the bad instant death ability, and the ugly Legend of Galactic Heroes.
You know, it's not that ugly. It looks pretty. I thought it looked pretty good.
Why am I literally the only one
average.
Why am I literally the only one recommending modern anime while you guys recommend old ass anime?
I just recommended a 2024 movie. All right.
Yeah, he just recommended 2024.
This is
look
my
back.
first old anime. This is.
All right.
Oh my god. Well, guys,
Dude, we're
that
not-
was fun.
Not even that old.
Recon, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do we know how many episodes of this new season of anime are out?
A lot of the anime are out at the moment. A lot of them.
But like not like episode 2s or 3s really. Only one so far.
No, all of the episode ones I think are out at the moment.
But not-
Episode 2s, no.
Not so much episode 2s. Okay. So
Not
next
so much
week,
episode 2s, but if you want, we can give like first impressions. Basically, that's what we could do.
yes, I think next week we're still gonna do this series like Hajime no Ippo, Shimonetta, Rumbling Hearts, and I think the week after that maybe we'll do a break from this and watch some seasonal stuff and talk about that.
Let's go.
You like a
Alright.
first episode or first or second episode of each, or not of each, but like maybe of like the first like 10 or 15 shows. If you guys are down.
Yeah, I'm down to do some seasonals.
Hell
Okay.
yeah. All right. On that note, Jordan, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast. It was a pleasure.
And just like that, we'll see you all next time. Space Cowboys, bang, Shinpaku, fuck you, Recon.
Later. He stopped letting
Hey.
Recon cook. Let's go.